Bonjour, hello, a good tag, shalom, buenos dias. Je m'appelle Robert Schwarzwald et je suis président du comité des prix J.I. Segal de la Bibliothèque juive publique et professeur à l'Université de Montréal. My name is Robert Schwarzwald and I am chair of the J.I. Segal Awards Committee and professor at Université de Montréal. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue à l'édition 2022 de notre cérémonie de remise du prix Rosa et le regretté David Finestone pour la meilleure traduction d'un livre sur un thème juif. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the presentation of the Rosa and late David Finestone Prize for the best translation of a book on a Jewish theme. The J.I. Segal Awards of the Jewish Public Library are made possible by the J.I. Segal Cultural Foundation, founded by the late Dr. Hirsch Rosenfeld and Mrs. Devorah Rosenfeld. They were established in 1968 to honor and perpetuate the memory of the great Yiddish-Canadian poet J.I. Segal and to foster Jewish cultural creativity in Canada. Our namesake, J.I. Segal, who lived from 1896 to 1954, is one of the most celebrated of Yiddish poets. His work is characterized by its deep lyrical expression and evocation of the dignity of Jewish life, combining, as Miriam Waddington has said so well, a religious and folk tradition, modernist American literary practice, and Canadian landscape and atmosphere. His poetry lives on in Yiddish and in translation. Today, the J.I. Segal Awards bring together people from many perspectives and backgrounds, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, to explore and illuminate Jewish themes in great books. As a meeting place for these diverse talents, the awards fulfill and promote the library's double but intertwined mission of being both Jewish and public. Even though the structure and categories of awards have changed many times, the purpose of the awards, now in their 54th year, remains the same: to encourage and reward creative works on Jewish themes and to recognize meaningful contributions to Jewish life and culture. The J.I. Segal Awards are made possible thanks to the generosity of our numerous sponsors, whom I now wish to warmly acknowledge: the J.I. Segal Foundation, Dr. Hirsch and Devorah Rosenfeld, Rosa and the late David Finestone, the Michael Moskowitz Endowment Fund, the Dr. Harry Rosenfeld Fund, the Mona Elaine Edelman Fund, the Shalamis Yellen Fund, the 90th Reuben Brainin Fund, and the Molly Erdstein Fund. Before proceeding with today's celebration, we note with sadness the untimely passing of Laurie Saint-Martin, a member of our translation jury. Laurie was a highly respected and beloved scholar, writer, translator, and the winner of many prizes herself, most recently for the new translations she and her partner Paul Gagné undertook of the novels of Mordecai Richler. Laurie and Paul were also the winners of the 2020 J.I. Segal Translation Prize for their translation into French of Gary Barwin's novel Le Yiddish à l'usage des pirates, Yiddish for pirates. Laurie will be deeply missed by all in Quebec's cultural and literary community. Et maintenant, il est avec grand plaisir que j'invite Monsieur Stephen Lapidus, président du jury et professeur d'études juives à l'Université Concordia, à présenter le prix de traduction.
Hello, my name is Stephen Lapidus and I was honored to be the chair of the jury for the best translation of a book on a Jewish theme, part of the J.I. Segal Awards. I was aided in my task by the late Laurie Saint-Martin as well as Barbara Agnese. While we received excellent examples of good translations on a Jewish theme, the three of us came to the unanimous conclusion that the best of those translations is Justin Cammy's translation of Abraham Sutzkever's From the Vilna Ghetto to Nuremberg, Memoir and Testimony. This book is a searing and unrepentant examination of the Jewish experience in the Vilna Ghetto as told by one of the greatest poets, narrators, and writers of modern Jewish history. Sutzkever is a renowned poet. His works have been examined, discovered, and recently even rediscovered by an extremely broad audience. And this book gives us the opportunity to see the experiences, the personal and historical and communal, of the Jews of Vilna through the eyes of one of its greatest observers and greatest narrators. As well, in the book, Sutzkever includes narrations and quotes and citations from other people, thereby giving voice to others who were not able to survive or whose books were not published or whose memoirs were not published after the war. Translating is always a complex process, particularly when you're translating from an Eastern European language like Yiddish into English. One of the advantages of this book is that Cammy examined multiple manuscripts and has brought together a seamless translation into the English language. One could almost imagine reading this book that Sutzkever himself had written in English. So it was a great pleasure and opportunity for those of us on the jury to be able to plunge ourselves into this book, to allow ourselves to place ourselves in the eyes of Sutzkever during the actual period that he was in the Vilna Ghetto. Cammy's translation of Sutzkever's Memoirs of the Ghetto will certainly be one of the most important contributions to Jewish literature of the 21st century.
Merci, and thank you very much. It's a great honor to have been informed that I am the 2022 recipient of the Finestone Award for translation of a book on a Jewish theme, part of the J.I. Segal Awards of the Jewish Public Library. It's wonderful to be in this spectacular institution that has such a storied history here in Montreal, and personally for me to be able to be back in Montreal, where I spent so many formative years learning Jewish literature at McGill University. The opportunity to translate this book by the great Yiddish poet Avram Sutzkever has enabled me to learn so much about a poet I worked on for many, many years, and to think about him in a different mode of writing, moving from poetry to prose. This book was first published in 1946 and hasn't been available in English translation until now. And I'm hoping that readers are able to learn something from Sutzkever, to learn something about the stamina and the resilience of the Vilna community, and to learn something about the intersection of history and memoir when those things were just beginning to be thought about in those years in the immediate aftermath of the war. I've been asked to read a few pages from the translation, and I will do so by choosing a piece about hidden caves in the ghetto. So this is Avram Sutzkever from the translation. Every day, I smuggled treasures back into the ghetto, and over time I struggled over what to do with them. Every inch of my apartment on Strachan Street 1 was taken up with precious manuscripts, books, paintings, sculptures that I'd managed to save from the Germans. I then had to figure out an appropriate place to bury them for safekeeping. Yosef Glasman, one of the leaders of the ghetto resistance, told me about a former yeshiva student who was constructing amazing underground hiding places. I had to contact him. He would provide me with advice. I went to see him. He was tall, lanky, and a bit cross-eyed. Gershon Abramovich, the name of this strange architect, told me a little about himself. His entire family was in the ghetto. He had 2 brothers, and his mother was paralyzed. The 3 brothers had studied at Ramaila's yeshiva before the war. Once in the ghetto, they swore on a Torah scroll to save their mother. The 3 brothers built an underground hideout for their mother, but it was only temporary. Gershon had not known that the Germans would deploy dogs to sniff out hidden Jews. So now he was hewing a man-made cave beneath the ghetto at the end of an underground tunnel far beyond his mother's current location. The cave was half finished. It would be impossible to discover. It would not succumb to bombs, fire, or search dogs. He would transfer his mother to this new hidden bunker. The aforementioned cultural treasures and the ghetto archives could be put there in the same secret space. He promised to show me his work. He led me down into the dim basement of a ruined building, through fallen bricks, and he advised me to hold on to his sleeve so that he would not lose me on the way. When we arrived at the corner of the ruins, he lit a small lamp. He cleared away some earth with his finger and lifted 2 small wooden boards. We crawled downhill for about 5 minutes through a narrow corridor, and then he told me to grab hold of a railing. The path continued along the railing until he removed 2 more wooden boards, and light sprung forth. "I'm hiding my mother here," he told me, pointing to a woman who was lying like a pile of bones among feather blankets and pillows. The electricity doesn't come from the ghetto, so if the ghetto is encircled and the Germans cut its electricity, Mother will still have light. She has been here for a year and a half. I've hidden her from 7 roundups, and I hope that she will outlive Hitler. Hearing our voices, the woman turned her head and addressed her son. Gershon, did you bring the candles? Gershon removed the 2 candles from his pocket, put them on a chair. It was Friday. He took me over to his mother and pointed at me. Mother, this young man has brought you a new Korban Mincha. The diminutive old woman managed a small smile. She extended her emaciated hand, took the prayer book, placed it on her pillow. There was a sudden sound in the hideout, and I shuddered. I connected a fan, Gershon reassured me as he pressed on with the tour. But I'm no longer satisfied with this hideout. At first it was safe, but now I need something even better. Come, I'll show you the hiding place for your books. The Germans will never reach it. It's 20 meters below ground. We made our way through a labyrinth, and again, a sudden beam of light. We had come to a new cave. This cave is 6 courtyards away from the first one, Gershon explained. From here, there is a sewer line that extends all the way to the Schulhof, but it's blocked in places. He pointed to a hole covered with bricks, letting me know that the 3 cases of books I had recently entrusted to him were already there. Gershon planned to transfer his mother into this new cavernous space. He had even dug a well. I looked into the secret well, and its walls were covered with boards to keep the water potable. We turned back. I was reassured about the books. Gershon had stored them in the same cave where he was hiding his mother. So I want to thank the committee for its work in reviewing translations and to the other nominees. I think it's very important that the Jewish Public Library has an award for the work of translation. Translation is the way that we communicate across languages, across experiences, and across cultures. And I hope that readers take something away from this text and also use it as an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Sutzkever and what he has to say about this dark period in Jewish history. So thank you very much. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Stephen, and congratulations, Justin Cammy. This brings us to the end of the presentation of the 2022 J.I. Segal Award for Best Translation of a Book on a Jewish Theme. Before saying goodbye, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks once again to our sponsors, to the jury, to Promotion and Publicity Director Gregory McCormick, to Programming Director Roxana Browns, and to Michael Krellinston, Executive Director of the Jewish Public Library. Finally, my sincere thanks to you, our viewers, for tuning in, and do be sure to come back for the Best Quebec Book on a Jewish Theme presentation. On behalf of the J.I. Segal Awards Committee, I extend our wishes for good health to you and your loved ones. Bonne santé à vous et à vos proches. Goodbye. Au revoir.